Welcome back, everyone. So today we're going to talk about group leadership and different types of leaders and a few other things as well. And so types of leaders. So there's going to be two main types of leaders. And so the leadership function is the main goal or the focus of the leader. What kind of leaders are they? What kind of goals do they have? And so there's going to be two. So there's going to be an instrumental leader, and these leaders are going to be more goal oriented. And then you have expressive leaders that are more supportive and focusing on unity and teamwork. And so I don't know if any of you watch The Office, and I always like to think of like Michael and Dwight and the type of leaders that they are, because they're very different, right? And so Michael would be more of an expressive leader who wants to be your friend and be supportive and teamwork and how can we be better together. And Dwight is more of like a dictator, right? The goal oriented task, let's get things done. I'm running it and you're going to listen to me, right? And so that in itself, we can see kind of these two types of leaders. For those of you that watch it, can giggle because I love The Office, and that made me think of this. Okay, leadership styles. So there's going to be 3 types of leadership styles. And so the democratic leader, who wants team participation, who wants everyone to be a part of the decision making and creating a solution. You have the laissez-faire leaders, which for those of you that remember from history or political science, laissez-faire means like hands off. And so this allows for self-management, so you're going to let them do them for the most part. And then you have authoritarian leaders, and who orders their workers around, and very much like a dictator. Like they're running stuff, you get it done by the due date and everything. And I guess the question to kind of think about is like, so which leadership style is best? And I guess best is very relative. It depends on your goal, right? And so I think those are just things to ponder on. Okay. And so then we're going to move on to peer pressure. And because we're talking about, and I think this kind of goes more so with like a reference group. And so social influence and or peer pressure is the influence of one's fellow group members on individual attitudes and behaviors. Generally, we conform to group norms because we want to gain acceptance and approval. Other words, get positive sanctions, right? Get affirmation, and avoid rejection and disapproval, avoiding negative sanctions, negative consequences, yes. So conformity is the extent to which an individual complies with group norms or expectation. And so I think it's important, as we're talking about groups, is that conformity is really important. And we've talked about this throughout we've read about this throughout the chapter so far, and how conformity is so important, especially when we're talking about from the functional perspective. And so our textbook talks a little bit about the Ash experiment, and even as human beings, our need to conform. And so I have it here in case you haven't seen it yet. You can look it up. It's super funny. And so this is a clip of the elevator. So the Ash experiment has to be 3 or more people doing all the same thing, and the other, the one person who's not in on the experiment then starts behaving accordingly because of the peer pressure, the need to conform. So it's very interesting. I mean, it's funny, but it's interesting from the sociological perspective. So then we have types of conformity. And so there's 3 types to know. So compliance. So this is the mildest form of conformity. It's just actions to gain reward or avoid punishment. The next level is identification. Conformity to establish or maintain a relationship with a person or a group, right? So you're trying to get in, right? First it was just like, okay, I just don't want to get picked on by you or something. Now it's like, no, I want to be a part of your group. What do I have to do? How do I have to conform in order to be in your in-group? And then internalization, the strongest type of conformity, when the individual adopts the beliefs or actions of a group and makes them his or her own. Right? This is when you're like, okay, no, I am the group, but I'm fully in it. So again, I always think of Mean Girls. I'm like, it just makes sense. And so, anyways, yes, things to think about. If you haven't seen it, it might be a good one. Okay, all right, formal organizations. And so here, of course, we're going to have things like schools, businesses, healthcare. And so bureaucracies are ideal types for formal education. And so sociologists have studied organizations. So Weber famously studied them. And so he found that bureaucracies have a strong hierarchy, a clear division of labor, explicit rule, and impersonality. And these things make businesses, organizations more effective and functional. Types of organizations. So the textbook talks about 3 types. So the normative or voluntary organizations, which are based on shared interest. So you join a group because you have shared interest. A coercive organization, groups that people were forced into, such as prisons or rehab centers. And then the last type of organization is utilitarian organizations. And so these are, people join these because they have a specific reward at the end. So something like high school or working because you want to get paid. And so then the last thing when we talk about groups is McDonaldization of society. And so Ritzer refers to the spread of fast food business model into other aspects of society. And the key aspects of McDonaldization is efficiency, predictability, calculability, and monitoring. And so this creates mass production and impersonality. And so I know last week I referred to it a little bit because how much the idea of rational logic has infected our humanity and how we make decisions. And so now this business model has really spread. And for the most part, if you go into any McDonald's anywhere in the world, you can get the same Big Mac. If you go into any Walmart, it'll pretty much be set up the same. And that's really how this McDonaldization of society has really spread. You can pretty much guarantee you can get the same products anywhere as long as you go into the same store. And so yeah. And that's it. That's all I have for you. And I hope you have a good one. All right. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.